Hey guys, Bella, and I'm going to put my ego aside in this video to talk about some constipation remedies if you have been on a GLP-1 medication such as compounded semaglutide, compounded tirzepatide, brand name Ozempic, anything that you're on that slows down your digestive system and then as a result makes you constipated. The video is going to cover, I think, maybe 10 or 20 different things that you can do to help with this. Some are more prevention oriented and some are more I'm in the trenches and I need to deal with this now oriented. So if this is something that you struggle with, I'm going to get through everything that I personally use. If I haven't used it, I'm not going to recommend it because I don't want to speak on something that I don't know anything about. When you hear about Ozempic, one of the common things you hear is that it causes nausea and constipation. Those are the really common side effects. Typically, this happens in the beginning of your Ozempic journey. First 6 to 8 weeks are the worst. Once you've gotten through that, your body becomes more accustomed to things, and I will say that it does get better. But if you can't make it through that first 6 to 8 weeks, that's not going to do you any good. So let's kind of talk about what constipation is. It means that you're going less than 3 times a week. So I know that not everyone really keeps up with their bowel movements, and I didn't either until I stopped going, and it became apparent very quickly. So if you have a problem with that, or you've always had a problem with that, and then you start taking Ozempic, you're probably going to have more problems with it. So this also has to do with having trouble using the restroom or having like hard stools, because if it's just coming out like, you know, in pieces or pebbles, that's not good either. I know that's not fun to talk about or think about, but constipation is something that is very normal, happens to all humans, and there's a lot of remedies that can work for you. I think that not everything works for everybody, because you'll have one person swear by one thing and then another person saying that had no effect on me whatsoever, which is why I want to present a lot of options in this video. So the way that Ozempic affects your pancreas is it stimulates your pancreas to release more insulin when your blood sugar levels rise. So it helps your body use sugar for energy. And so it prevents the pancreas from releasing a hormone called glucagon, which prompts the liver to release glucose into the bloodstream. So it also affects the liver. By preventing the pancreas from releasing glucagon, Ozempic helps the liver stop releasing excessive sugar into the bloodstream, thus lowering blood sugar levels. And then the way Ozempic affects the digestive system is it slows it down big time. So stuff's gonna stay in there longer, which is why you find that you're having less bowel movements less frequently, is because everything's going slower. And this actually makes you feel more full and reduces your appetite, which is what leads to the weight loss in the first place. So let's get into 10 different categories of things. These are medications, supplements, foods I eat, things I do to try and prevent it, and then things I do once I'm already there. I will say it's definitely varies based on my diet. If you don't clean up your diet, it's going to make it so much more difficult for you to have regular movements. Fiber, of course, is something that's talked about a lot, but if you get like severely constipated, fiber can actually be a bad thing. So just kind of look at where you're at, and it's never a bad idea to speak to your doctor if you can. Personally, I use Telehealth, so I'm able to talk to my doctor like as much as I want. I use Fridays, and they have like unlimited provider visits. So if you need to talk to them like today, you can just get on and message them in the portal. So if you're interested in getting your medication through Telehealth, highly recommend Fridays. You can get semaglutide, Ozempic basically, compounded semaglutide. You can get that for $249 a month, and it will be $149 a month if you use code BELLA. This is through March. I'm not sure if that's going to be relevant for the rest of the year, but you can still use code BELLA, links in the description, if you are interested in starting a GLP-1 or you're on one and you want to change to a different one. They're very good about working with you, and they also have an insurance concierge team that can help with insurance prior authorizations if your insurance has denied you, like mine did. But mine never started covering it again, so here we are. Okay, let's get into it. So the first thing, this is going to sound really obvious and annoying, but you need to drink a lot of water because everything is being slowed down, which means that everything is not able to move. Since you're eating less, you're also getting less water through food because water is in a lot of our food. So you need to make sure that you're just staying on top of that. I recommend getting like a giant water bottle. This is my giant emotional support water bottles. I recommend getting something like this because that way you don't forget to drink water throughout the day. This thing is huge, and I can just fill this up like once or twice during the day and get the water that I need. If you don't like water, you can also drink Crystal Light. I mean, it's basically just a little bit of calories, like maybe 40 or 50 calories for a whole jug of it. So that could be a way for you to start drinking water, and you can also add supplements to your water. I like to use liquid IV, and I also like to use these little fizzies. They just drop in your water and flavor it and add some extra electrolyte, so that can help as well. You really can't talk about constipation without talking about fiber. This has a ton of fiber. It does have a lot of calories, and I'm gonna be real with you, it's very sweet, it has a lot of carbs, but if you're desperate and you eat a bowl of this, I think that you will be happy. Regular Raisin Bran works as well. This is great value from Walmart. This has 7 grams of fiber per cup. My other go-to would be prunes. You always hear the jokes about old people needing prunes because they can't go to the bathroom. These have 3 grams of fiber and they are 100 calories per serving. I got a 4-pack of these off of Amazon for like $10 or $11. The price fluctuates on them, so check the price on it. Also, there's a website called like Camel, I think, if it's still around. Basically checks the price whenever things drop on Amazon and sends you an email. So I've noticed that prices have really been fluctuating lately from like something could be $10 or $15. And then also dates. So dates are another good one. Basically a sweet fruit that can help you with your fiber. This is what a date looks like. Not the most appetizing looking thing, but it will get the job done. Also eating fruit like apples, grapes, things that have skin, things that you know you'll eat the peel of, and also kiwi. People say that if you eat 2 kiwis, you can like knock out constipation. So I tried that. I only ate 1 kiwi. It didn't really do that much for me, but they have a lot of seeds. Also, dragon fruit has a lot of seeds. Basically anything that's gonna force itself out of you to pass through. Things that have a lot of little components like chia seeds or things like that can be good, or poppy seeds, anything that you can like throw into a shake and just get it down. I'd like to differentiate here the difference in like the medication route and the supplement route. So supplements to me are like not so much medication, more of like something you'd take every day. Now the medication route, so stool softeners and gentle laxatives. So a lot of times they'll have both in the product, so it will be both a laxative and a stool softener. This one is docusate sodium, 100 milligrams. It's a stool softener and a laxative, and it costs about $3 or $4. Very, very cheap. This is something that you could take occasionally. I have a fear of becoming dependent on like laxatives because I just think that that's something that you don't want to risk. You don't want to have to take that to go to the bathroom. However, if that's not in your normal repertoire of things, then these can be great options. This one is Senecot. This is a senna-based laxative, and it's a lot more gentle. It says overnight relief, so basically you take it at night and then you'll usually go in the morning. These don't make my stomach cramp up. There's some laxatives that just like, it just puts you in a bad place all day, and it's just not pleasant. So I would recommend going for gentle options like Senna. Colace is another one. This one is really popular. It's been around for a long time. Pretty reliable in terms of effectiveness. And then we've got to talk about Miralax. This is the generic, but what this is it pulls water into your stool. So it doesn't make you go, it doesn't stimulate your intestines to go. It pulls the water that you drink into your stool to stimulate you to go. And so with this, you need to drink a lot of water. So all it is like a white powder, and you put like 1 capful of it into your drink, and you can drink this once a day and be fine. My doctor told me that you can drink a lot of this. Like when you go for a colonoscopy, they make you drink like the whole thing of it. So you can drink this periodically throughout the day. If you think about it, like sprinkle some in. What that's going to do is just make sure that water is pulled into your stool so that you don't get hard stool and you don't get like constipated. So Miralax is probably one of the first things you should try if you are going to go like this route. So the gold standard, I guess, for GLP-1 people is Mag07. People were telling me about this 2 years ago, and I probably should have listened to them then, but I just wound up buying it like a month ago. So this is a magnesium-based supplement. This one is something that is meant to be like a cleanse, and it says to take 3 capsules to do the cleanse for 7 to 10 days. I don't follow the instructions. You guys are going to be shocked to hear that. You know, I never follow the instructions on anything. I just take 1 every day. I mean, it seems to be helping. If you take this, let me know how you take it. Is there a better way for me to be doing this? But Mag07, read the reviews on like Amazon. You'll see what I'm talking about. Magnesium in general is really helpful for going to the bathroom. And also there's a brand called Calm that makes another one. But magnesium's pretty cheap if you just, you know, buy magnesium itself. So you might not not want to buy the $40 or $50 supplements, I think that I actually got this off of eBay for like $15 or $16. So I always check eBay before Amazon because there's people like me who are resellers who get it and will sell it to you for a bargain. Okay, this one is actually a more recent one that I've been trying. This is papaya enzymes. You eat it with a meal. So basically, you just take one of these little pills every time that you eat a meal. You actually chew it. So it's like an orange flavor, almost kind of has the texture of like a Tums, and these are ridiculously cheap. This was like $4 off of Amazon. There are a lot of companies on Amazon making digestive enzymes. I don't know that much about the science behind it, but I do know that it's supposed to help with making you go. So I've been taking these digestive enzymes. Like I said, I don't take all of this every day. I kind of sprinkle it around. That way I'm never depending on one thing too much, because I feel like that's the bad thing, is when your body starts to rely on something in order to do its necessary functions. That's never a good thing. Okay, I've also got a probiotic here. This one is called Probio Balance, and it is a digestive and immune health supplement. A lot of these have their own like proprietary blend, so I can't tell you every single thing that's in it, but basically probiotics and prebiotics are what you want to be looking for. So you can get probiotics through medicines like that, or you can get it the natural way. Like this is yogurt. It has plenty of cultures, plenty of bacteria already living in it. This one has 25 grams of protein, 170 calories. This is probably going to be the healthiest yogurt that you could eat on a GLP-1. It's called Ratio. Not the tastiest. I'm not going to lie to you. I prefer Noosa. Daniel is like a just health nut right now. He's eating everything like low calorie, high protein right now, and he is shedding weight right now. But this one is really good. And then also for somebody who's a little more open-minded, this is kombucha. So I grew to love kombucha, but I did not like it at first. It has live cultures in it, 9 billion living probiotics. So if you look at the bottom of this, it looks kind of gross, but there's like actually stuff living in this. And you can make your own kombucha. You can get a SCOBY and you can make it, or you can buy it at like the farmer's market sometimes. But yeah, this is very much a thing that you should incorporate if you're trying to get more probiotics. The way that probiotics are basically working is they're the good gut bacteria. So they help break down the food, they help your gut stay good, and your gut and your mind and your body are all connected. So don't ever forget that. We talked about supplements, food, medication, probiotics, prebiotics. You can also incorporate drinking hot drinks. Liquids that are warm tend to move the digestive system. Obviously, coffee is going to be something that makes a lot of people go to the bathroom, but if you don't drink caffeine, you can also drink decaf coffee. For me, it still will stimulate. It won't stimulate as much, but it still has an effect. Hot lemon water is also good. If you don't want to drink just lemon water, I recommend teas. So this one goes pretty good with lemon. It's a wild orange tea, and this one is caffeine free, so you can drink this sucker all day long if you want to. This one actually helps with nausea, and I feel like it helps with the digestion. So this is pure peppermint, and you can also look into spearmint because I believe that helps with nausea as well. Spearmint also helps with PCOS. So if you're like me and you have PCOS, look into that. Another thing to add is going to be some type of natural honey. This is a honey that we got at TJ Maxx. It's just a lavender honey. Delicious, but honey actually has prebiotics that can't be digested, so they actually stay like in your gut. Honey is also just really good to keep you from getting sick. If you can get natural honey from the location you live, like the farmer's market, if there's a local beekeeper, you can definitely take advantage of that. But honey in your tea is something that I would recommend. Coconut snacks. Oh my god, I'm not affiliated with these people in any way, but these are so good, and I've noticed that any kind of coconut or oil type of food can get things moving if things are slow or stuck. These are delicious. They're 170 calories, 3 grams of protein, 3 grams of fibers. This one actually has the coconut, sunflower, chia, and pumpkin seeds. So it's got a lot of those components that are just typical for making people go to the bathroom. Applesauce is also an underrated stimulant to go to the bathroom. This one's apple cinnamon. It's 100 calories. Not the greatest. I mean, the texture of it is not something that I would really just be like, ooh, I love that, but I'm able to get it down when I need to. And especially if I feel like I'm just like, I feel like I need to get some extra liquid. I want to kind of keep things going. Applesauce is good. Okay, let's talk about old school remedies for just a moment. Did you know that you can just drink olive oil? That is like an actual remedy. I tried it. I'm not sure that I would really ever try it again. I actually tried it out of desperation, but yeah, you can just drink a teaspoon of olive oil. Some people like to mix it with honey to get it down, but this is very old school. So old school remedies would be like, my mom told me, she's a nurse, and she told me that they would melt butter in the ER. They'd melt butter and then put some lemon juice in it and then make the patient like take a butter shot, because it just lubricates everything to continue moving through the digestive system. Look up like old school remedies for constipation and just have yourself a laugh. But yeah, olive oil, coconut oil could also work and be more tolerable, and butter. I haven't tried the butter shot. I don't think I will, but that's something that, you know, you never know. If nothing else is working, that could work. Okay, so one thing that I did not realize is the physical side of things. What I mean by that is like giving yourself a stomach massage. So basically you go in a, let's see, clockwise motion. I am so bad about clockwise and left and right and directions. So you go in a clockwise motion and rub all of your stomach, and then you can also do a stomach massage where you kind of push and go around and kind of stimulate those organs. I learned this from like a YouTube channel that does like wellness type of stuff, and it actually kind of helps. And then you can also do yoga to stimulate your bowels. So look up yoga for constipation, and there's like entire videos on it. Like you can do a full workout that's just concentrated on helping you kind of like get things moving. So walking after a meal is also good. I'm not saying you have to do a 5K. I'm just saying like after you eat, don't just sit down, and definitely don't lay down. Make sure that you are just kind of like staying active after you eat. So maybe after you eat dinner, you put up the dishes, or maybe after you eat dinner, you like walk around your house and pick up a little bit. Just try to make sure that you keep moving after you eat. So future prevention is something to think about in terms of elimination diets. There's what's called the FODMAP diet. There's also like the Whole30. What I try to do, I don't follow any of those because it's too many rules and I'm just a rule breaker. But what I try to do is think about how can I eat as many real whole foods as possible. What I mean by that is a strawberry is a strawberry. There's nothing else to it. It's not like you got like a strawberry syrup that's got corn syrup added to it or all of those artificial things. There's a lot of ways that food companies add a bunch of crap to our food that we don't need. So I try to go by this rule that's like the 5-ingredient rule. So if a food has more than 5 ingredients, that means it's pretty processed. So I just try to limit that. I'm not saying eliminate it. I'm saying limit it where you can. And don't obsess over, should I eat this, should I eat that, good food, bad food, because that is how you get a bad relationship with food. Because food is not personal. Food is just food, and it's meant to fuel you and give you energy. So don't let food become the enemy here. Okay, last thing I'm going to talk about is what I would call the nuclear option. So if none of this works, none of it, you might need to try these. Magnesium citrate is a drink that you drink before you get like a colonoscopy. You can get magnesium citrate at Walmart for like $2. You're going to need to be chained to your house for like the next day or so, but it will probably make you go. Now, another thing is lactulose. This is a prescription medication. You will need to get that from a doctor. And then there's something called Linzess. So this is another medication. It's commonly prescribed for people who have like chronic constipation and IBS. I think you should try to treat with all of these other options first. And let's talk about when to see a doctor. Like, when should you actually worry? Now, I do not run to the ER for anything. I have not been to the ER in my adult life. I've only been to the ER one time. I don't think that you should use the ER as an urgent care. Just go to urgent care. So in terms of when to actually worry, so if it keeps going for more than 2 weeks despite lifestyle changes, over-the-counter treatments, or if you notice severe symptoms like abdominal pain, blood in your stool, or vomiting. Because if you're vomiting, that means that the food has nowhere to go and it's going to come back up. So that's a big concern. So vomiting is also common with Ozempic. So don't get the two confused. Nausea from Ozempic does cause vomiting, but it might not be from constipation. So just try to determine which one that is. Like I said, if you use Telehealth, And if you use Fridays, you should have access to a doctor to talk to them about these issues. First, I would try food, then I would try supplements, then I would try the medicine, and then I would try to get something from the doctor. I would try all of those other options before you go to the doctor. Because the doctor's not going to be able to do much for you. The doctor's going to tell you to eat more fiber, get exercise, drink water, and just all the basic stuff. Because to be honest, they probably don't care. Like, I'm sorry to say that, but like, it's just such a common problem, and they see so many other things that they have just become numb to it. But I know that if it's you and you're dealing with it, it does feel like a big problem. Last portion of the nuclear option would be an enema. I don't think that you want to do that, so I would also say that that's a last ditch option. They will probably give you that if you go to the ER. Which, why would you do that when you could just get one for like $5 or $10? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not paying that ER bill. You can tell that I have a bad relationship with the medical community. Anyways, so worst case is an intestinal blockage. Very rare, but it can happen. This is if you are not able to go at all and you don't pass any gas. That means that there's something stuck and blocked from keeping everything from coming out, and that can be bad because you can have serious issues from that. A lot of times with Ozempic, they talk about pancreatitis, which is something that can happen but also very rare. And you'll notice that if you're on a GLP-1 semaglutide, you will hear the worst stories. You don't hear positive stories. The news doesn't talk about positive things because that doesn't make people watch the news. People are wired to watch for bad things, so just keep that in mind. But in terms of that, a GLP-1 medicine is going to change the way your body works. It's normal to feel different. It's normal for your digestive system to act different. Your hunger is going to be different. Everything's going to change on this medicine. But I'm here to tell you that you're going to have a lot more positive changes than negative if you stick with it, you lose the weight, and you reclaim ownership of your life and your body. So I would love to hear from you in the comments if you have a remedy that works, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and what is one of the craziest things you've tried. Have you drank olive oil or butter? I just think that that is absolutely crazy. And if you want to start a GLP-1 medication like semaglutide, you can check the links in my description. I have all the information to get started. I have a playlist about everything that I've gone through for the past 2.5 years being on Ozempic. 40 plus pounds down at this point, and I feel 10 times better, more confident, and just better overall. If you're struggling, I hope this video helped you. I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care until then.